Hi everybody, it's Marcy, and I've got some goodies to show you that I've been working on for my Dearjuliejulie August Junk Journal Challenge. So first I'm going to start with my, what are these called? File folder card embellishments. So first I've got these that I've got my file folder, but it's vertical. And on the front, I've just got this little cluster type thing as a closure. I've got a little pocket here. And you pull it down. And on the inside, I've got several papers from my Dollar Tree note paper pad held in there. And I just put a piece of Dearjuliejulie paper over it and stapled them together and then glued that onto the back of the file folder. So that's my first, and I've got 3 of those. And then I've got these 3. And here again, I've got a little tab over the file folder. Open it up, and I've got a pocket here and a belly band here. Don't have anything in the pockets yet because I want to wait and see what may or may not need to be filled once I get the journal made. Then I've got these 3. So again, I made the little tab closure, and on the inside of this I stenciled and added some writing paper. So basically I made a little mini writing journal out of the file folder. Okay, then I went on and I made my tags with the job. So I've got these 3 tags, and this one I used a greeting card from Dollar Tree and just covered up the words on it. And the front of my tag is shorter than the back, so it slides right under this little tab to hold it. And on the inside, we've got lots of journaling space. So that's what I did for those. Here I made just 3 tags with a pocket. So their job, I guess, is to hold something. And I used Dearjuliejulie tag base, index card, my scrapbook paper, and some fabric for the tab, and then I sewed around the edges. And here, these are kind of similar to my file folder ones, but I made sort of a matchbook style tag. So I've got my tag topper up here with a little pull tab, some lace over the edge, pull this down, and I've got some of my Dollar Tree list papers in here. So all very simple, but those are all tags with a job. Then, I promised you in my last video I would show you my journal cards. And so I've got these 3 journal cards. I just used strips of paper. Some are digital, some are little scraps of scrapbook paper, and then stamped on it, stitched around it, put this little rickrack up at the top with a little bit of lace. So very simple, but those are 3 journal cards. And then here you can't really tell it now, but I made sort of patchwork squares out of, again, some scrapbook paper. I was getting lots of scraps. Put some, so sort of patchwork underneath, a Dearjuliejulie image on the top, a little bit of lace down here at the bottom, and one of the leafy vines that I'd cut on my Scan and Cut, stitched around it, and there's those journal cards. But what I want to show you is these. Now these are very simple, but more importantly, I want to show you, I used vellum over the top. I just have scrapbook paper with some music paper torn underneath it, a little bit of lace, flower with some bling stitched around it. But I wanted to show you how I used the vellum over the top of it, because it was really accidental that I learned to do this, and so I wanted to show it to you. All right. So I've got my embossing folder, and I've got a little sheet of vellum, and I'm going to be using some fun foam, and I just used my rolling pin because I didn't feel like pulling out my embossing machine. Plus, this is great if you don't have an embossing machine. Okay. On the vellum, let me see if I can find something white so you can see it. Okay, there you go. Now you can see it. I printed out one of Dearjuliejulie's pink pages from her bright, colorful Easter egg dyed pages. And this is just a small piece that I'd cut out. But it was the only way I could think of to get the vellum in was to have it printed on. But what's cool is on my inkjet printer, vellum is pretty non-porous, so the ink pretty much sits on top. So if I take some water, you can already see my ink is starting to run. And that's because it hasn't soaked in at all. Now, inkjet ink will run a little bit on a lot of papers, but on this vellum, it really does because it's not soaked into it. So then I can take my vellum, put it in here, give it some good rolling action. And I like to go both ways. And then, now it's not dry yet. Let me grab a paper towel to wipe some of it up. But on the vellum, you get sort of the same thing that you would get if you rubbed inks on your embossing folder. And I just thought that turned out, because it pretty much, this was not an actual image on the vellum anyway, but it just, I don't know, I just loved the way it worked. And so that is how I did these and managed to get some vellum into my project because we're limited on supplies. But I really wanted to use a little bit of vellum, and it worked beautifully, and I love the way that came out. So that's my little tip of the day. So, and like I said, I discovered it accidentally. Well, I mean, I was playing around with it, but it was sort of an accidental discovery on my part, but I love the way that comes out. So, that is it for today. Until next time, I wish you all a wonderfully happy, crafty day, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.